Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome back to our studios where we are giving you live transmission of the third day, the 42nd Jalsa Salana Canada here from the International Center in Mississauga, Canada. We have with us two very special guests that have joined us in the studio this time, and it's in context of the history of our Jamaat. The history of our Jamaat is replete with the examples of divine schemes and campaigns to fulfill the fundamental purpose for which it was established. كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ. You are the best of people raised up for the good of mankind. And in accordance with that, this Jalsa Salana Canada is also very special because of the launching of two very, very important schemes of campaigns. Accordingly, with us, to my immediate right, we have the Canada Jamaat's press and media representative, national representative, Safan Chaudhry Sahib, and then Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh, Safan Sahib, and to his right, we have Murabbi Sahib Maulana Abdullah Dibba Sahib from the United States of America. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to you both. Jazakumullah Ahsan Jaza for joining us. Savan Sahib, I'm going to start with you. You are going to be giving us an introduction of a new campaign that has been launched, specifically now in Canada as well, Pathway to Peace. Can you give us a rundown of what this is, where it started, why it started?
Absolutely. Imam Sahib, as you just mentioned, and rightfully mentioned, that our Jamaat is raised for the betterment of mankind. This is the mission. This is what's been ordained about our community. And we see the world head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat traveling the world, country to country, world parliaments. I know in the US he was at Parliament Hill as well, the British Parliament, giving one key message, this message of peace that the world so desperately needs. His Holiness, the world head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, has written a book, World Crisis to Pathway to and the Pathway to Peace, in which it has all those key speeches, but also letters that he has written to world heads of governments, of nations, leaders such as President Obama, the President of Iran, Benjamin Netanyahu, the President of Israel, and various other world leaders such as the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, where His Holiness has provided principles for real solutions to the pathway to peace. This isn't rhetoric, this isn't what we hear on the news, but rather real concrete steps that we believe that if the world was to apply, we would be on a real pathway to peace. These are 9 principles that we can all come together on, such as recognizing the Creator, unity among nations, rejecting extremism, points such as eliminating weapons profiteering, eradicating poverty, love for country, and one of my favorite ones, which is now coming to the forefront, but His Holiness has been talking about it, is nuclear disarmament. And last but not least, this one is really, really important, that we serve mankind. So it's the service to humanity, and these are the 9 principles that His Holiness has been presenting to the world around. And we are launching this as a global initiative, which is starting in Canada at this Jalsa Salana, and it will travel around the world to get people to endorse these 9 points.
Inshallah. I'm going to get back to you on a little bit more of this, but we also have Murabbi Sahib with us, Abdullah Dibba Sahib. Murabbi Sahib, you are joining us to talk about PAMA, the Pan-African Ahmadiyya Muslim Association. Can I also get a similar answer to this? Where did this start? What is PAMA for the average viewer, and why did it start? What are we trying to achieve with this?
Right, so it's in the same spirit as Safwan Bhai just mentioned when it comes to the purpose that the Ahmadiyya Muslim community tries to achieve throughout the world. And this comes not only in theory, so when you hear about writing the letters and the campaigns, it's not just something that's in theory. If you want to see that being played out, practically the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is also reaching out to different parts of the world. And obviously Africa as a continent, the motherland, everyone proudly says that. we're reaching out, and we have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that are Ahmadis in Africa as well. So the fourth Khalifa in 1986, when he migrated to London in 1984, he interacted more with people of different nations, and he realized that a lot of the people that were migrating from Africa, and he knew the spirit and love that they have for this Jamaat and for Khilafat. Some people started getting somewhat distracted from what the spirit that they truly had back home. And he realized that this could be cultural shock, it could be a change of environment. So he reached out to them, and in order to serve that same purpose, to see that true display of the spirit of the love of Khilafat that they were showing back home, to give them that sort of platform, he says he created this association himself in 1986, where he says that the people of African origin who have left the continent and are now living in the diaspora, all their children, this association is for them, to give them a platform to come together in a way that they can instill those true spirits of Khilafat and the love of the Jamaat in themselves, and also to spread that outside of the community. So this is where the humble beginnings of this association started.
Alhamdulillah. Now, Safwan Sahab, for the average viewer right now listening to us, how can we take this message home to every single Ahmadi, and then beyond that, how can they contribute to this campaign that we've launched now?
One common thread among all the campaigns we launch is this unique aspect of unity as a community, and we have this because we have leadership. And all these initiatives that we do, and some, are inspired both by the action and direct instructions of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, who's the leader of this community, who's the imam that guides this entire global community forward with various different initiatives. So for our viewers at home, who are even fortunate to even be watching this broadcast because of those types of initiatives and these kinds of initiatives, what we're asking people to do is to bring their friends, their neighbors, their co-workers, their colleagues, their contacts to come and unite to endorse these 9 principles of pathway to peace. These principles that His Holiness is preaching around the world. And we firmly believe that if people were to endorse these 9 principles, that would be the first time we would see people come on a single platform together. For instance, we saw most recently in the G7 summit that the 7 most powerful nations in the world, the strongest allies, so to speak, came together, and they couldn't agree on one manifesto, right? Yet we, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, are uniting politicians, dignitaries, academics on 9 principles, not just one. And they are excited and coming forward, and they have actually told us that we've never seen these 9 points packaged the way you have. And this is the foresight and the incredible vision of His Holiness, to be able to bring people together on principles that are actual and real and measurable and tangible solutions. And we firmly hold the belief that if the world was to follow these core principles, we can shift the entire trajectory of the dangerous path that people are heading towards.
Inshallah. We're hoping to see much more, inshallah, coming from this campaign in the near future. And I would pose the same to you, Rabi Saab.
Yes,
What can the average Ahmadi do to contribute to PAMA? What should they do when they come across PAMA?
So again, it's just to clear any sort of misunderstanding that may come out to say, okay, are they creating a separate group or something like that? That's absolutely not what it is. It's just like we have an auxiliary in the Jamaat, Khudam al-Ahmadiyya, Lajna Imaillah. It's just to give them a platform in a way that they understand better what their challenges are, and how they can progress together as an auxiliary body. This is a subsidiary within the Jamaat. And for people to have an open understanding of what it is, to get to understand the culture of people of a different background, but the unity in their diversity. That's what Islam is all about. We created in tribes and different tribes and sub-tribes, but so that we can recognize one another. This is just to show another dimension of the beauty of the creation of God in the community. It's a sign that the Prophet ﷺ talked about when his message will reach the corners of the earth. So they should see this as a manifestation of the fulfillment of that prophecy of the Prophet ﷺ in our day-to-day activities. Now it's open to all members to come in and join us in the functions that we have, in the events that we have. And the essence is essentially to promote, of course, this association, but most importantly, to promote the message of Islam Ahmadiyyat to people that are of the same origin as us and also outsiders, to empower people and give them that confidence and that hope to feel part of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. So it is embracing everyone else in such a way that we recognize where we come from, but also display that beauty that is found in the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. So people to have an open mind about it, be ready to educate themselves, and welcome this association in the Jamaat.
It's beautiful how you mentioned the verse of the Quran, we have created you into tribes and sub-tribes that you may recognize one another, لِتَعَارَفُوا, and how it beautifully complements what we're trying to do with the Pathway to Peace campaign, which is that the world learns about one another. There's a level of cohesion, of reconciliation, where there are walls of divisions being built. And so how these two organizations, perhaps these campaigns, might be able to work together in moving forward, fulfilling that fundamental purpose. كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ, for the best of mankind. Our colors, the variety of it, Allah Ta'ala says, is a sign of His truthfulness. In it are signs for a people of understanding. And that recognition enables us to come together and perhaps carve a way towards global peace, inshallah, in the future. Now I wanted to go towards this specific Jalsa and these campaigns. Savan Sahib, what have you come across in this Jalsa? Any particular event with perhaps a journalist, other media personnel, average Jamaat members? What can you recall specifically under this campaign? Something that might have inspired you, you may have liked it a lot.
They say that even in a moment of war or conflict, when there's armies marching, when you're in the thick of it all, it's hard to gauge what's happening all around you. And Jalsa is still happening. We're in the midst of it. We're right in the thick of it. It's hard to gauge from our vantage point what the experience is like, especially as the organizers. But what's exciting and truly a sign of the manifestation of the truthfulness of this community is when you speak to the guests of the promised Messiah and even non-Muslim Ahmadis and non-Muslims in general that are attending this particular convention. I was actually speaking to a non-Ahmadi Muslim guest, and he said, I have been coming to your convention for many years, and each year it appears as if this is the greatest and the biggest convention, and I always wonder, how are you going to outdo this next year? And you guys seem to just completely blow out my expectations. We also had so many members of parliament. We had the Minister of Immigration for Canada in attendance yesterday. We had the deputy leader of one of the federal parties. We actually had the leader of another federal party in attendance, many different mayors and city councilors, and they were thrilled to actually come and endorse the Pathway to Peace. And then they started to talk amongst each other about how is it that we are the political leaders of this country and we have never put together a platform within even intra-party that brings us all together on a single platform. So we had people from different parties, different parts of the aisle uniting, and you may have heard some of the guests mention in their Jalsa speech remark, this Pathway to Peace, that how it's actually united people from different opposing views on a common platform.
Would you have any closing remarks with this?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely, it just reminded me of, so the Pan-African Ahmadiyya Muslim Association, it's in different countries. It's in the United States, but it started in UK, it's in Belgium, it's now in Canada, it's in Italy as well. So there's the one in the UK actually organizes a peace symposium every year, exactly in line with what he just mentioned, where we call, and another benefit of having this association is all the ambassadors of the African countries in the UK, for example, are invited, all the politicians that are representing African countries, and to see all of them, and everyone knows the history of Africa, just to get a Nigerian and a Ghanaian in the same room, it's a problem. But even when they came and see, wow, all of these people from all these different countries are able to come together and to talk about peace and love. And it's only through Khilafat that we're able to achieve that. So that's just humble beginnings, but something that we are trying to inject into every single country, inshallah.
to both of our guests for joining us, elucidating us on these campaigns, and giving us an idea of how this Jalsa can become a platform to open up even grander events for the world, for fulfilling the desire of God in the world as He desired through the hand of the promised Messiah salatu wasalam. Jazakumullah ahsan al-jaza to both of our guests. With this, we will be coming to the end of this session. Jazakumullah ahsan al-jaza to everyone for having listened to us. Remember us in your prayers, particularly both of our guests and the campaigns that Hazur Anwar Allah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz has blessed with his own will, with his own green light, so to say. So, Jazakumullah ahsan al-jaza once again for joining us, and inshallah, we will be going ahead with the following program. Jazakumullah, with a short break now.